towns are supposed to be safe, serene, predictable. But in Seneca, Kansas, population barely 2,100, that illusion shattered in broad daylight. A beloved priest, gunned down in front of his parish. No warning, no known motive. And the killer? A 66-year-old man who calmly turned himself in. What happened on April 3, 2025, is still sending shockwaves through this tight-knit Catholic community. This is the chilling story of Father Arul Carasala. Arul Carasala, born in India, ordained in 1994, was no stranger to service. After relocating to Kansas in 2004, he became a fixture in the Diocese of Kansas City. By July 2011, he was pastor of Saints Peter and Paul Parish in Seneca. The faithful described him as compassionate, deeply devoted, and always present. Fluent in multiple languages, he brought warmth and tradition to a parish that relied on his leadership. In 2011, Father Arul proudly became a U.S. citizen. He didn't just lead the church, he became part of the community's heartbeat. Parishioners called him a friend, a shepherd, a voice of comfort in hard times. By all accounts, he had no enemies, which made what happened next all the more confounding. It was Thursday, April 3, 2025. Around 2:50 p.m., Seneca police responded to reports of shots fired at the Saints Peter and Paul rectory. There they found Father Arul lying outside, bleeding from multiple gunshot wounds. Witnesses described a chaotic but brief scene. Some heard 3 shots. Others saw a man calmly walk away. Emergency services rushed him to the Nemaha Valley Community Hospital. But it was too late. Back at the rectory, investigators worked quickly. Within minutes, 66-year-old Gary Hermesch walked into the Nemaha County Sheriff's Office, located just blocks from the church. He approached a dispatcher, his own brother, and said plainly, "I just shot Father Arul." He was arrested on the spot. Gary Hermesch wasn't a stranger to Seneca. Though he'd recently been living in Tulsa, Oklahoma, he grew up in the area and still had family ties there. Hermesch had a record not of crime but of ideology. Between 2021 and 2024, he wrote at least 6 letters to the editor in a local paper. In them, he railed against liberal theology, criticized Pope Francis, rejected Vatican II, and echoed far-right talking points. He praised Donald Trump. He demonized President Biden. He even used language like, "make the church great again." Yet no one anticipated violence. He had no known interactions with Father Arul. No public threats. No confrontations. The two weren't friends, nor enemies, which led investigators to the question still haunting this case. Why? Hermesch surrendered voluntarily and didn't resist. In the criminal affidavit, prosecutors stated the shooting was intentional and premeditated. Surveillance footage showed Hermesch waiting outside the rectory with a weapon before approaching Father Arul. He fired 3 times, then walked away. He was charged with first-degree premeditated murder and booked at the Nemaha County Jail on a $1 million bond. At his preliminary hearing, prosecutors argued the attack was ideologically motivated. But Hermesch made no statements in court. No explanation. No apology. As of summer 2025, Hermesch remains in custody, awaiting trial. A mental competency evaluation is pending. The DA has not ruled out enhanced charges depending on what the motive reveals. In the days following the murder, grief spread quickly through the parish and beyond. Vigils were held. The rectory steps became an altar of candles and handwritten prayers. Parishioners wept openly. Others spoke of confusion and anger. Archbishop Joseph Naumann called it a senseless act of violence and urged Catholics to find strength in faith. Father Arul's funeral drew attendees from around Kansas and beyond. Stories poured in, how he baptized generations, helped with immigration paperwork, never missed a hospital visit. He wasn't just a priest. He was family. Seneca, Kansas is trying to heal. But the why behind the murder remains elusive. Was this truly random? Was Hermesch acting on extremist ideology? Or did something darker motivate him? What's clear is this: Father Arul Carasala lived to serve others. And in a world often fractured by politics and hate, His life represented unity. His death, a brutal rupture. We may never get a full answer, but the impact of that gun, fired 3 times in daylight, will echo through the pews of Saints Peter and Paul for years to come. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Crime Deconstructed. We bring you real cases and stories that demand to be told.